we hack the code and flip the tag. Where cliches come to retire. Drop that beat, turn down to fire. Say what's real, make fears take a seat. Unconventional wisdom, dancing on your feet. Hey.
Hello and welcome to Unconventional Wisdom, about conventional wisdom. I'm your host, Kim Miller-Hershon. I am delighted today to have Victoria Woods here as my guest. And before I give her a chance to talk, let me just tell you a little bit about her. So she is a wealth advisor, a trusted advisor to millionaires. She is the founder and CEO of Chapelwood Financial Services, and she really specializes in high net worth investment advisory. She's been featured in Newsweek magazine, Financial Planning Guide, named 100 Women to Know in America in 2023. She is the author of the book, It's All About the Money, Honey, and on and on and on. She has a lot of accolades, and I am just delighted to know her and for you now to get to know her too. First of all, Victoria, welcome.
Thank you. I am really excited to be here, just so you know.
Yay! And for those of you who are listening and can't see, you should go either to Facebook or YouTube and check out Victoria's hot pink today because she is styling it and gorgeous.
Just for
Gorgeous.
you, Kim. I gotta get the Kim vibe going on.
There you go. All right. So the random question I have for you is I would love for you to tell us about your goddaughters.
I have goddaughters, and I have great goddaughters, and I have homestay daughters, and I have 10 nieces. In my world, we have a lot of girls. And luckily, my husband adores women and he just embraces all of these young women. As a matter of fact, I was going through his books this past week, and I came across a blue book, hardback cover, little tiny book, and it just brought back the most wonderful memories of our homestay daughters. And if you don't know what that is, when we have universities that will bring young women over and they're just here to learn English, that's their goal, but they stay in a home because if they stayed in a dorm, it's too easy to speak your own language. So it's called conversational. They've learned that it's conversational. So you have dinners together and it's just a wonderful experience. Well, Kathy, we had three at the time, Virginia, Annie, and Kathy, and my husband. She struggled harder than our other sisters. It was easier for them. So like we would be at dinner and Annie would be sitting next to me and my husband would ask Kathy a question and Annie wanted to help her sister and she'd answer, right? So my husband and Kathy started doing this little ritual and he took her into the library and he had her pick out a book. He encouraged her to select Moby Dick. So they would sit and he would have coffee and she would have tea and she would read to him. And it was just, oh, it just warms my heart to think of the little things. He's taught all the nieces to drive their cars and they come up to visit us every summer. So we have a lot of wonderful young women in our world. And now I just got her name is Stevie. She's the great goddaughter. So I have two goddaughters and they live in Canada. They're Canadian. And Erin, and they're both very successful young women. And their mom was my store manager at a cosmetic company, turned best friend, turned maid of honor. Well, I guess, yeah, best friend, then maid of honor, and then lifelong friends. So yeah, it's just delightful having young, bright women in your life.
And I think what's interesting, I think, about you, although there's lots of interesting things about you, is that I wanted to really bring this up because you are somebody who is just so committed to giving back, right? In just
Yeah.
so many ways, because not only have you helped the young women who you personally know, but
Okay.
but you've also created events
Yes.
to mentor
Yes.
women
So this
and
year this is our second year to do this. We bring in young women from underserved communities And they come and learn about finance, they learn about going to college, and they learn the STEM industry. That's what their goal is. And then I bring in this panel of very successful women in different arenas, like the president of the university. And I brought in Sharina Perry, who Sharina is owns Utopia. And she accidentally started this company and it's just exploded. She gets an award every week about her company. I brought in General Rita Aragon. So they could see it's not just about math or just about this industry. It is a plethora of areas that you can go into in STEM. I encourage them, go with your passion. And so then bring in mentors. So it's a wonderful, really about a half a day, 3/4 of a day event that they come in and we give them breakfast and lunch, and it's 200 of them. And it's a lot, but then we give them scholarships. So I raise money to give them scholarships to go to the national conference. And that was they got to go to Washington, D.C., and they got to meet, congresswomen and senators. So it's a great experience for these young women. And all I have to do is ask my friends to say, because they know if Victoria's doing this, it's like at a very high level and the money's going to where she says it's going. So there's no question. They just like, can I sponsor somebody? Yes, thank you very much. So we sponsored 8 girls this year, and our goal next year is to sponsor 10. And it typically takes a new city, because we were a new one last year. It usually takes them 5 or 6 years to get people to sponsor and the girls, because we take care of everything, but they have to have a scholarship and they have to have a chaperone to go with them. But it's a life-changing experience. As a matter of fact, one of the young women that went the first year, she asked the counselor if Miss Woods would let her speak at this one about her experience. I was jumping up and down with joy. Absolutely. Please let her get it. So I had somebody on stage just personally interview her about her experience. And she says it's life-changing. It changes the trajectory of their life experience. So we're very happy to do it. And then I just met a young woman, my husband and I, in 2017 in New York. We were just I've always wanted to do the holiday weekend there, and we went for 5 days and just had a lovely time. And this young woman was just amazing on the concierge floor. I thought she was a concierge director. I find out later, you know what? She was a housekeeper. She was volunteering, but this was her calling. Making sure everybody had treats and coffee and how was your day and what are you going to do today? And people from all over the world. It was just delightful to sit and watch her work. And I wanted to bring her home, and my husband said I couldn't. So I invited her to a women's conference I was speaking at in Tulsa, and she came. And I got her a hotel. I took her with me. I got her the registration. Because I was the keynote speaker, I asked if I could bring a guest. Change this girl's life. She went from housekeeper. She is now one of the senior director managers at the Jewel Hotel at Rockefeller Center.
That's pretty powerful.
And she always gives me the credit. And I'm like, no, honey, I just said you can do this and kept in touch with you. You have done the work. And I always say, I will mentor anyone who has a fire in their belly or who just needs a little encouragement or an introduction to someone. I'd be happy to do that. But you've got to do the work.
Always. Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit about you and your trajectory to success. So, the first question I have for you is about what's one thing that you thought, like conventional wisdom, that you followed early on, only to realize later that it just was really not right for you?
Let's start. There's a list. Let's start with the first thing because, but you need to understand that Kim is, and I don't know if you know this story, that I came from less than nothing. My father abandoned us when I was 11 years old. And my mother was just trying to keep a roof over our head. She's 4 kids. She's never worked. She's a stay-at-home mom. He abandons us, and now she's really struggling. I did not like that. I didn't even have lunch money. We didn't even have a stove to cook on. I cooked for my siblings on a cook plate because we had a stove, but it didn't work in this little house she could afford. So there was an apartment complex behind our home, and we had a gate. So we'd all these kids, we'd go over there and play. I would be organizing games and stuff with all of these kids, and these women were a lot of single moms. And then I realized she needs help. And so at 12 years old, I started babysitting. So that was my first entrepreneurial experience. And this is how now we call it scaling. I was babysitting one, and I thought, let's babysit two or three. And then I started babysitting six at a time. And I remember one was an infant. What woman in her right mind is going to let a 12-year-old? And they saw this on the playground. I was always organized. It just came naturally to me. And I think I was very mature because of my experiences. First of all, I was mature anyway. And then second of all, because I was second, I wasn't the oldest. My sister Kathy was, but I was always in charge. And my mother was like, okay, you do this, you do this, take care of all this. Starting that little, when I look back, now I look back and you go, I was born to be an entrepreneur because it just came naturally to me. Getting into the finance, I went into fashion because that's really what I wanted. So when I started my first business, though, as fashion was the corporate world, I left the corporate world at 23. I'm like, no, this is not working for me. Now I had no idea what I was going to do. I was broke as I could be. I had no idea, but I just decided I'm going to control my life. And this is what happened, though, to push me to that. And that was the store manager. I had 7 departments in a retail store. Love retail. Love retail. I love it's fast paced. I love it changes. I love it's somebody different all the time. You're serving and you're helping. They come in and they're going to go to a big dinner party, and you go to the dinner party things, and oh, I got a big interview with a law firm. Oh, this is where we go. Or it's just always something. And I really thrived in that and was very successful. But I had cosmetics, retail, a fashion department, the junior fashion. I had lingerie, 7 departments, thousands of SKUs at the time. It became time. I knew that the store manager, Mr. Assett, who'd recruited me from Fort Worth to Dallas, and he's got the budget. Everybody's talking. What is he going to do? So I decide I'm going to go in there and ask for a raise. And I do. One night, I wait for everything to be calm. I go in and sit down with Mr. Assett, and I explained to him why I felt I needed it. He said, absolutely. Victoria, there is no question. Your top sales, you have more SKUs, more departments. You are right. However, I only have this much in the budget to give a raise, and it's going to go to Bill, the furniture department. Lazy Bill, he's got maybe 50 SKUs, maybe. Yes, but Victoria, he's married with three children, and you're single. That was it. Thank you for your time. I went home, and that is a pivot in the road. When these things happen, you have to make a decision. That's not true. You don't have to, but it's a fork in the road. Are you going to continue to allow someone else to determine your future? Or are you going to take the bull by the horns because we're in Texas? No. So I went home, called a girlfriend, told her it, and she just says, stop. Just tell me. Did you jump up on his desk and hit him over his head with a 3-hole punch? And it made me laugh because I was hot. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she goes, what are you? Next day, I woke up very clear. I'm not going to do this. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not doing that. And I decided to leave. And I had been working with them full time since I was 15 years old. Actually, I started when I was 13 because I was a preteen model for them. They recruited me into that. I did that because I got free clothes. Loved that. Free shoes and free clothes for school because we had no lunch money.
Oh,
So when then I start my own company. And what you think, or maybe not everybody, but I thought, you have to have all the answers, right? You have to be the one to know everything. And what I learned was 2 really big things is that, no, you don't. I was pretending like I did. I tried to look like I was confident, even though I was probably shaking inside, sweat running down my back, and my hands are all dancing. I'm like, okay, I think I'm doing this right. I don't know. But always having the right answer and being perfect. The other thing, there's that. And then I realized, no, you don't. And people don't expect it because I did not have any mentors. I did not have people in my world that were entrepreneurs. My daddy, who was my stepfather then, worked at Bell Helicopter. My mom was working at Piggly Wiggly at night and J.C. Penney during the day just to keep a $96 a month roof over her 4 kids' heads and spaghetti, sloppy joes, or goulash in their bellies. That was it. So that's all I knew. And I knew my mother still rushed to the Bell Helicopter at noon to pick up Daddy's check on a Friday to go to the bank. Remember when we used to float checks? Yeah, to cover those checks that they already wrote so they didn't bounce. So I was like, I am not living like this. And then when that thing happened, I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know that I cannot do this and be happy with my life. I believe you should
Right.
create your destiny. And I know it's scary to a lot of people. It was scary to me, but I did it because you know what? In absence of courage, what I have learned, in absence of courage, do it scared.
Love it.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Just do it. And so what's the worst thing that's going to happen? That's what I always would say to myself when I would think I need to do this. And I just get these feelings in my gut that this is the direction I need to go. I don't know what's out there, but I know where I am is not where I'm supposed to be. God has
Mhm.
a plan for me. I don't know exactly what it is, but that's the exciting part is you don't know. You just take a leap of faith and you just ground yourself. But the other thing that I did not do, which I look back now and I am so proud of young women who ask me for help, ask me advice for help, anything, because we didn't do that. We weren't raised in that, but then we didn't have role models. So when one young woman asked me, Miss, because I do a lot of different kind of mentoring things, and they always ask the same thing. Why would you and the other women that are there, why would all these women take time out of their busy day? They could be doing anything, running their business, going to the spa, they're anything,
Right.
and they're here. And I said, honey, that's easy because we did not have that. We want it to be easier for you, and we will help you if and when we can. So it's asking for advice. As a matter of fact, I was so bad at it, Kim, that I knew I had to create something because I was so horrible. And I didn't do this until I was in my 50s, so it's really quite embarrassing. I can't believe I'm telling you this. But I decided to create this card, and it says 26, it's 2026 business goals, Victoria Woods. Here's my picture, here's a QR code. But I list my goals for the year and 5 speaking engagements at women's conferences, develop 3 strong referral relationships, acquire 25 million in investable assets, recruit a coachable female advisor to our firm. And so I put these. So anytime I have a meeting with anybody, they're going to come to me, ask me to volunteer for some fundraiser or something, or come and ask me for advice. And I do the meeting with them. And as soon as I'm finished this, and I took a business coach with me, I was in Miami, and he was shocked that I really do this because I talk about it. And he's sitting there, and after this meeting, big, powerful real estate man. And I look at the one to my left, and I said, thank you for all this. And he goes, before I leave, I said, do you mind? I said, these are my goals. And I hand them like they do in Asia, both hands, like a business card. They hand it to you like this because it's not, yeah, here. No, it's out of respect and that this is important. So I hand it to him and have him take it. And then I say, please look this over and tell me which of these can you help me with? Which are my goals? And shut up and sit back and say nothing.
Wow.
So uncomfortable for these men. I've done it so much now. I just sit back and like I know what's coming. See, they don't. These 2 gentlemen over here, the business coach and his partner, have no clue. I do. If you just sit back and give somebody a moment to read 4 things, and now their brain starts going. And he says, Victoria, I know the top realtors, women real estate agents in this city. They would love to hear from you. He said, they have a great association, it's very active. I said, really? Thank you so very much. And what is that person's name? And how do I contact them? And are you going to introduce me or do you want me to just go? How do you want this to happen? Give them all the control and there you go. But it's tough the first time you do it. And I don't care who it is.
Right.
Don't care. The governor, we're doing a fundraiser for the governor's running for governor. And as everybody leaves this fundraiser and it's dwindling down and I'm in the kitchen and I say, oh, by the way, Kevin, I said, I'd like to share my goals with you. I said, I want you to take a look at this list. And if you would just tell me, which of these can you help me with? He yells, Sarah. I'm like, oh, what did I do? His wife comes running in. She goes, what, Kevin? And he goes, look at this. Not only is she an entrepreneur, not only does she write her goals down, she creates a card and then hands it out and gets you to tell her what Sarah. He was so excited. So every year, every time he sees it, he knows I'm going to give him my card. One year I didn't see him for a while, so I sent him 5 of them to the governor's office. And I said, here are my goals for the year. Please keep me in mind. And the other thing I do though, this is the real clincher. So I have them in a little pouch in my purse. And so once I give somebody a card, I add their name to the list. So it'll say governors, it'll say so, and I'll say, now, just so you know that I'm writing this down to remind myself that I gave this to you and you made me a commitment. So the next time I see you, we'll be talking about this again. I'm telling you, these 2 men, the business coach, he just walked out. He said, Victoria, I just don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. And I go, excuse me, you have never been at a loss for words, Mr. Business Coach. But he just sat back and watched. He said, people talk about doing things, they don't actually do them. So I think asking for advice and believing that you have to have all the answers, which you don't. It does not make you weak. It does not make you anything less than who you are. You just have to be very clear about this is who I am. This is where we're going. And it's kind of, I love the book. Who's going to be on my bus? You either get it or you don't. And again, women, we take too long. We hire very quickly because we want to save people, and we take too long to fire them. We don't do that anymore. But we take a very long time to hire. I have a young lady coming in today. She wanted to sit in on our podcast today. And I said, you come in the afternoon and we'll chat. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, very cool. All right. So obviously, you are quite successful. What's one thing that people look on the outside and go, she's got that all figured out, and on the inside, you still wrestle with?
Dang, you ask good questions. Because it's true. You think when you become really successful and people think it just happened overnight. Honey, we're talking just this company alone, and I've had 3 now, is 30 years old. So it didn't happen overnight. And you make wrong decisions and you just hope you pivot quickly, recognize them, make an adjustment, keep moving. Don't dwell on it, don't harp on it and all that. But they think you got it all together. Because someone said to me one time, she goes, I just want to grow up to be like you. You just got your shit together and all. And I'm looking at her like, me? You just said the SH word, me. And I thought, that is what I project because I am the most insecure person in the world, but I don't project that for whatever reason. And maybe it's been that shield because you were abandoned. That is a very painful thing. And you never get over it. You learn to live with it, but you never get over it because you never believe you're worthy. Because if your father abandoned you, then it's something's wrong with you. And it's not you, it's him, but you can't help it. It takes a lot of self-talk, a lot of success. And I think a lot of the success I've had is, I know it's from fear of failure. There's no question about it. People say, Victoria, what was your biggest failure? I go, I don't have any because I cannot stand to lose. I can't stand to fail. I just keep my nose down and we just keep serving people. Just like starting off with helping my mom, then helping those women. As long as I'm helping somebody in the retail store, as long as I'm serving people, that's all I need. And my husband taught me though that if you just do the right thing, always what's right and what's fair, just keep working and the money follows. Because we had none, less than none. And now I have a lot. And then you get to have the joy of giving back, and that helps people. I always thought you had to earn it, but I don't. I really believe in giving while you're living so that you can enjoy it. And why? I told a niece recently, she just called me blubbering, tears of joy, but she's our girl that doesn't cry. So when she cries, it's a lot. And she called me just boo-hooing because I knew she had gone through something. Her daughter had an accident. She's only 5. I knew that they were having financial struggles. I just knew it. And so I sent her a note that I hope this helps ease your burden and everything. And she just was overwhelmed and said, Aunt Biddy, yes, we have these medical bills, but this is way more than that. And I said, honey, something else is going to happen. So just bank it, take yourself out to a nice dinner, whatever. But just know when Murphy shows up, he shows up with cousins. One bad thing happens and then this, so just know, and this will give you a little cushion so you can just enjoy your family and your children and your new job. And I helped her negotiate a new position. She'd been with the same company for 40 years. You're worth a lot. Yeah.
Right.
So those are a couple of things.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I really like that you just said is that, sure, if you have a lot of money, it's not easy to give it away, but it's easier. But I think one message I want to get out is that you don't have to be rich to help, right?
Oh,
I've had
yeah,
nonprofits on here before, and I've been like, listen, as I like to say, there's no donation too small or too big,
absolutely. And
right?
I always say a dollar's a dollar. They listen to my radio show. People will say, and I'll meet them out somewhere, and some I don't know them, but they hear me, or some of they'll come up and say, I'll be in a restaurant, and it's usually when I laugh. And they'll come up and go, excuse me, are you Victoria Woods or are you the financial diva? And I was like, maybe, why? And they'll say, a dollar's a dollar. Or they'll quote something that I
Right.
see all the time, and it that warms my heart to know that people are listening and it's making an impact on their life. They said,
Right.
I have to do a radio show. I don't have to work. I haven't had to work forever. And people ask me too, why do you still do this? And it's because it's your job to me. It not a job, your responsibility. If you choose to take up space on planet Earth, you're responsible to give what you can. And if that's give your time, give your money, give your influence, give your relationships, your resources, just help people. And it always comes back. And I've always had that belief for some reason that what you give out, you do get back. However, a really important lesson that I learned in about 1996, 99, somewhere in there, that I got this kind of windfall in my lap. And it was a blessing, but it was meeting someone that was going to affect my life. And then I recognized it. They sat down next to me. And I felt so guilty about this because I didn't have to work hard for it. And I finally, one day, I realized, because I didn't talk to anybody about it, I just had this guilt going on because it changed the trajectory of my life as far as finances, never had to worry again and that kind of thing. Built this beautiful building, bought a 3.5 acres for my office. I've got a studio here. So the lesson there was, Victoria, look at all that you've been giving out all of these years, and it didn't come back from them. It came back from over here. So it's not necessarily going to come back from the place you get it, but just keep giving,
Right. That's right.
and it will come back to you, but it
Yeah.
will come back unexpectedly. And that was a lesson that I'm like, okay, thank you. I got that one. So that makes it easier though, Kim, to keep giving. Even if it doesn't
Right.
come back in the direction you give it out, don't worry about it. It's still going to come back to you, maybe a different form, a different way, from a different person. God always
Right.
takes care
I
of you.
I think there's a couple things there, right? It's about everything is not linear, right? It's not just give and get in the
Right.
same, just back and forth. I think one of the things that I hear you saying is that you're giving value, you're giving expertise, right? So if it's just about the money, then
Yeah.
it's a hard case to make to the universe, right?
Yes.
But people pay you handsomely for your expertise, for the unique things that you bring to your field. And then you've also gone on to mentor girls in a lot, or young women in a lot of different fields, right? Doesn't have to exactly be yours, and showing them examples of success. So I think that is the other thing. There's a lot of things out there in the universe around attract money to you, which great, attract money to you, but also really be clear about what you have to give.
And it is. And I get people this, they're struggling because I struggle for years and years. I know what it feels like to wake up every day and the first thing you do is check your banking account. Do I have enough money to pay my people? I was very fortunate. I've never missed a payment, never missed a payroll, never missed a supplier. Now, maybe I didn't get paid, but everybody else got taken care of. And I also remember, I know just keeps flashing back in my head, so I need to say it out loud. I remember when I did not give a young man $25 that he was putting together a mission trip. I was so afraid because it was really lean time. And I told that young man no. And I don't ever tell anybody no. Then I went to his home and watched, because he did get enough money, and watched what he had done. Oh, honey, don't you think the next year when he on that mission again, 4 times what he had asked for? Because that was nothing. That were like, oh my gosh. And you just give it because it will come back to you. And again, go back to the, I've been scared so many times. And in the absence of courage, just do it scared. Just do it. And then again, I always say, what is the worst that can happen? You're not going to die. You might be embarrassed. You may fall on your face. You may make a wrong decision, but you can fix it. Let's just fix it. We'll figure it out.
And I think what I really hear from you, like you are just a woman of action, right? And I think I love this do it scared, do it afraid, just do it, right? You've got to take action. You don't have to be right, but you
Right.
do have to keep moving.
Yes. A gentleman told me this is, see, these things pop up because I've lived a long time. So Don Power, I was 23 years old, and he talked about positive thinking, and he recommended Power of the Subconscious Mind, which it is the #1 book. I even say above mine. If you don't read that book, you're not going to get anything else. And my book is great because it's common sense, it's plain English. I'm speaking to you. You can read this, and there's no, the publishers all wanted me to get a ghostwriter, a expert in the finance. And I said, okay, I'll try it your way. Convince me, fire him. No. And then I was like, no, I'm firing you too, Millie. Love you, but this needs to be done my way because nobody's going to believe this. Victoria speaks in English. Now, when I'm with finance people, we can talk about beta, alpha, standard deviations, all of these things. But no, when we're talking to people, very smart people, I don't care if you're a brain surgeon, you're a lawyer, a banker, they're all clients. So you talk to them in plain English because if you're just talking about people's heads, so biggest complaint I heard when creating my own company is like the same thing. I can't read my reports. My advisor talks over my head. I don't even know what, and it's like, don't you worry about it. Trust me. No, you are to ask questions because it's your money. And I've even had men come and go, here, Victoria, I'm giving you all of this. Here's $11 million. I just want you to protect me from my own self. No, again, this is about your money. And you have to have involvement. You must come to a meeting. Y'all plan, I bet you plan, spend 4 or 5 weeks, maybe months, planning a vacation to Europe. You can spend 1 hour sitting down to be sure that we're all on the same page. We know what your goals are because we have a 6-step unique proprietary process, and it's 6 steps. And the 1 step is discovery. It's discover what is it what you want. I don't care what your neighbor wants. I don't care what your mama wants or your daddy wants, your sister wants. What do you want? And we set that up first. It's like, tell me what does your retirement look like? What does selling your business look like to you? I need to hear your vision because I'm very visual. And I just sit back and take notes. This is what you want. And then we check all your statements and we have a clarifying call to say, I want to be sure I understand this is what you're telling me. I want to be sure because that's the plan. We're going to do all of these things. If this is what you say you want, I'm your girl because I can make all that happen. And it's such a fulfilling thing. One guy was interviewing me once, and we were sitting actually in this office, and he's interviewing me, and he goes, sounds like you work at Disneyland. I said, I do. It's like, Victoria is like the fairy godmother that gets to make all the wishes and dreams come true for people. It's just because it's easy for me. And when you've done it for so long, I can sit down and look at it and like, got this. This is how we're going to do this. We're going to get you everything that you want, whether it's a second home in Spain. Got a client right now going to her second home in Spain. She's got a little apartment there. It's adorable. I've been there. I was like, she loves it. You got the big house here. You got that there. Whatever you want to do, just say, this is what I want. And I had a client that one time told me, they've been clients for years, never told me that their dream was to have a condo in Colorado. Now they take the girls every year. I just thought that's what they like to do. And then we can't do that. I'm like, what? You never told me. Oh, we so can do that. Within 9 months, literally, I was like, you go shopping. I will figure out the money and how we're going to make this happen and still not wreck your retirement. And I got it done. She's so excited. They got the condo, wrote the check. We were happy. She sends me pictures. Kim, like orange shag carpet. I said, Deb, you failed to mention that we have another $100,000 for decorating because
Yeah.
this is not your style at all. But I'm glad you got your condo. But now we're going to decorate. So, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun. For me, it's fun. And I
Yeah.
love
It's
it
so
when my
fun.
clients are on a cruise or something and they always call us first, which I love. And unfortunately, if somebody passes away, other people say, oh, you call your attorney, you call your pastor. Our clients call us. We were on the phone with one of the dearest clients, and the girls were at 9:30 in the morning, and his grandson called him and said, Papa Galloway, I want to come by and see you. Can I bring you a Brahms ice cream? And he goes, I don't need an ice cream or a shake or anything. But I'd love to see my grandson. He got there in 12:15. He passed away.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they called us at 12:30. And I tell my team all the time, Kim, though, that is our goal, that we have such a great relationship with our clients because you're talking about very intimate things,
Right.
money, trust, kids, problem children. It's very personal. And we know their dogs. We know that they're the charities. And when I get asked to Infants in Crisis, I go, absolutely, we will donate. It's a great organization. I know it well. And we're going to donate in the name of Carol Chris because that is a passion of hers. And we let them know that. So they know we know who they are, and what's important to them. And we've got clients from coast to coast. So from California, clients out there, they love the Boys and Girls Club. Okay. Somebody calls me and wants to donate. Yes, and we're going to donate in the name of Gail Hodgetts. And
Right.
our clients are very, very generous, very philanthropic.
Yeah. Love it. All right. So, what's an unconventional habit or mindset shift that's helped you grow this business?
You think when you start that you have to be involved in everything. If you want it done right, do it yourself. That was my philosophy too. And I am a Virgo, so I'm a perfectionist. So it makes it challenging. And I know this. And every single when I was working in the corporate world, you get these appraisals every so often. And it was always about the best thing about Victoria, her best quality and skill is her enthusiasm, her passion for what she does. The worst thing is she's a perfectionist. She works herself to death being a
Mhm.
perfectionist. Not being a perfectionist, number one. Go back to that rule because we've all read it so many times. If you saw how many books are over here, Kim, I'm on that. I have a 12-foot credenza we're looking at right here. There's in every single office in this building, there's a library, not just a couple books, a library. I have read and read and read, and I still do continuously. I believe in continuous improvement. Again, if you choose to live on planet Earth and take up space, you ought to be growing and you ought to be giving. Just knowing that you cannot do it all, and you can do it all until you can't. You can do it all.
Right.
You can wear all the hats until you can't. And once you get to a place, and there's many levels to that, Kim. I remember hiring my first employee and out of my house. And my husband and my CPA says, you got to get an office. You have taken over the kitchen desk. You took over the cook island. You've taken over the dining room table. And now you're taking over the den. It's people, y'all got to go. And I sat on the floor going, I don't want to do that. I like the rent here. You grow that, you take that step. And I was scared, but in the absence of courage, just do it. And it all worked out. And then when you continue to grow, and then you get to a point where it's like your children. You push them out of the nest, you get them to be strong, and then they don't need you anymore. And it's like nobody comes in to see me. It was always got to see Victoria. And then I complained about that. I said, I got work to do. Everybody wants to visit with me, and I love visiting. But no, I got work to do. And then you go through this transition where they don't need you. And that is a very difficult when you have clients, and that's your goal though. For 4 years, you worked to train this person so that everybody wants Victoria. And then they come in, it's like, where's Damon? I'll see Damon. And we did it gradually. Victoria's not available at that time, but Damon is. But at first, I would take him in on appointments with me. And then he got to where it's like, Victoria's not available, but Damon is. Oh, great. I'll take Damon. That's fine. Or I'll wait for Victoria. And then we weaned him off of me. And so you do that. And then you go through this really, nobody needs me. But that is the goal. If the company depends on me, it runs like a machine right now. If it all depended on me, you don't really have a business.
That's right.
You don't. You can call it a hobby. You could call it rewarding and all, but it's not a real company. Now mine is a real company that I have gotten so many offers I have not had any intention of selling. Of course, I have a succession plan in place and trusts, and everyone knows what I would expect if something were to happen to me. However, I still get offers all the time, and it's 5 times what someone, our firm, but we are one of the top 2.96% of women-owned firms in the country. I sit on $160 billion. Now that's intimidating. We still have that imposter syndrome thing. You're cool here and you're cool in California with your clients. Then you go with the real big dogs and you're sitting there and you're like, I finally confessed to the CEO in Nashville 2 years ago, having cocktails. And I told him, I flat out just said, I started saying, I am very insecure. I said, every time I come, I'm so excited to be here. And then I get here and I listen and I look and I'm watching and I don't feel like I belong here. He was standing to my left. He's looking down. Are you kidding? I go, no, I'm not kidding. I can't believe I'm telling you this because I've always felt this way. And they will reassure you. He said, Victoria, we would not have you on our board. You've been on my advisory, or 3 different ones. They just asked me to be on their AI advisory board, wealth management on their AI advisory board, which has really have been, actually, I just joined in. It's a lot of fun, but I've been having a lot of fun with AI and teaching and sharing with people how to use it, CEOs, how to use it effectively and efficiently versus they always say, you get all these little ads. Oh, come and join us in 28 days. You're going to be a different person and change your life. No CEO's got 28 days. Are you kidding? And then you look over here and they've got 15 different AIs that they're going to teach you about. No, they're not. They're going to teach you enough to show you need it or some of it. And then it's going to scare you so bad, you're going to hire them to say, here, you just do it for me. That's what they're doing. So don't be stupid. Don't be gullible. Just understand the game. And then you find out, oh, do what Victoria does. Get one platform and get 6 AIs all on one platform, and they all work together, and you work with your executive assistant, and they all work together for you. So
There you go.
there you go.
Victoria, we have spent a great amount of time just hearing your story. It's so inspiring and just, yeah, I don't know. I'm almost speechless.
Oh, you're too sweet. No, as long as I can bring value to your audience, I've got a link for my audiobook that I want to share with you that you share with your audience.
Great.
And they can buy the book if they want, but they can hear me reading the book. And the best part is, a gentleman that is Tony Robbins, JT, and he wanted to interview me and he wanted me to give something to his audience. Okay, give away a book, do something. He goes, no, I want something nobody else has. Have you done an audiobook? And I said, no. And he says, okay, I want you to do 4 chapters in your audiobook, just the first 4, pick 4, I don't care, so that I can give it away as something unique. And I said, okay. Oh, I dreaded it. I'm like, I don't want to do it. And one day I said, stop. Today's the day. Suck it up. Go across in the studio, spend 1 hour. And if you don't like it, just 1 hour. I go over there. I turn on the microphone, close the door, turn on air, do not disturb. And what I found was when I was going through the book, I would go off and say, oh, what you didn't get to hear in the book. And I start telling these stories. I was like, this is way too much fun. I think he wanted 4. I think I did 6, 8, or so, I don't know, a bunch. Because it was just so much fun. And I got to tell stories that you don't get to, hear in the book. So that's what you're hearing.
Oh, yay. Oh, see, I'm excited to listen
No,
to
no.
it.
And you'll
Yeah.
notice it. And when you read the book, though, even if you read it and you've heard me get speak or heard my radio show, it's Victoria talking. This is not written like an academic book. It's Victoria telling you what you need to know. And we start off with money and we've all done stupid with money, so nobody gets to beat themselves up. And because of that, I'm going to share my biggest stupid first. So we all know who we are here. We've all done stupid. If you're over 12 years old, you have done stupid with money. So what do I say? Education is expensive. So just don't repeat it.
Right.
Okay, learn that lesson. Got it. Not doing that again. I learned my lesson. And so education is expensive. But
Yeah.
always I end my radio show. I don't know if you know this, but I end the radio show and have for 20 something years. And that is my best advice. And my best advice is don't take advice from broke people, physically, financially, or spiritually.
Love it.
And I explain what that is in the book. Because some people go, like, what is talking about? It's really quite simple, but just know who you're taking advice. And a gentleman taught me that when I was 23. Someone's in front of the room. The first thing you want to know is their credibility. Do I need to be listening to this person? Are they just talking about it? Like when I was on the Today Show, there was a young man that wrote a book. He was like 24 and wrote a book about how to become a millionaire. Oh, I was so kind to him as long as I could be. I even pushed the girl Cheryl, who's got a TV show on MSNBC, around to look at him because I wanted to say, oh, really? Let's look at your school debt. Let's do that. But I didn't. I was as kind as I could be with, oh, really? That is fascinating. How many millions have you earned? You know, you're going to teach somebody else. Have they done it, or are they teaching or talking about it? For me, it is. You better talk the talk and walk the walk, because if you don't, I'm done. I'll get up and walk out. I am not going to spend my time for somebody who's talking about theory or philosophy, something that they haven't actually done themselves. That's why we have, Kim, our clients are so down to earth, and they are extremely wealthy, but all of them have earned it. Some of them have inherited it, but most of them have earned it. But the ones that have inherited it have such respect for their parents or grandparents, and they treat this money as sacred. And that's the only way we take on a client. We have a rule, it's called the AAA. And that means you have to have the assets of $1 million. You have to be an advocate for us and understand how we work differently than other people. And then the third thing is your attitude. And if you don't have those three things, then it's okay. I'm doing just fine. So we have this family, and they call it the CFS family. We all get together, we do a movie night, bring in about 100 of us and do a movie night. It's like a big old family. And it's very eclectic, like my family. There's everybody, size, shape, form, race, creed, color, religion. It's all of it. It's all of it. So it's just delightful to be a part of a community like that just, are all going in the same direction. All want to be good stewards of what God has given them.
Love it. Oh my God, that is the perfect sentiment for us to end on here. Thank you so much. Listener, look for the link to the audiobook. For me, I would love for you to subscribe to my newsletter. It's once a week. It's got one thing every week that is.
I get it in my email.
There you go.
I was like, one thought. I was like, I love it. Just one. I don't have to listen to a bunch or do a lot of things. So, and if anybody that needs any help, suggestion, guidance, call me. I am your girl. Chapelwood, 2 P's, 1 L, Chapelwood Financial Services, or the Financial Diva. Just Google Victoria Woods. All kinds of stuff will pop up. Be happy to help.
I love it.
If they're anything like you, Kim, I'd be honored to help them.
Love it. All right, friends. Go out there and be a better human.
Where cliches come to retire. Drop that beat, turn down to fire. Say what's real, make fears take a seat. Unconventional wisdom, dancing on your feet. Hey.